What's up, guys? Today I want to talk about something that happened to me last year in 2024 that's possibly going to happen to you because honestly, we are facing a burnout epidemic. Last year, I burned out. Simply put, I was unmotivated, I was not happy, and I was thinking about all the reasons why I didn't want to work anymore. You know, for me, I've always bitten off a lot, right? I'm a hard worker. That's what I do. That's what gets me up in the morning. And I've always, up until last year, really been passionate and excited about it. But there was a point last year where I realized something's got to change because I am not happy. And it was really because of, well, there are a few reasons why it happened. And today I want to actually unpack it. I want to talk about burnout in general. I also want to talk about why it's happening and why it's on the rise. But I also want to give you some actionable steps on how you can fix it or prevent it. So what is burnout anyway? Well, essentially, it's a chronic state of physical, emotional, or mental exhaustion brought on by a constant state of stress. All right, this is very different than just being tired. Being tired is something that happens basically once in a while, right? You don't get a good night's sleep or you stay out too late. You wake up and you're like, God, I'm so tired. That's not burnout. You're just tired and need to get more rest. All right, being burnout leaves you feeling emotionally drained and detached a lot of times. Not to mention, it makes you struggle to be productive. And the problem is that when you feel burnout, it also manifests in other unhealthy ways. A lot of times, you're gonna skip going to the gym, you might even self-medicate, you might drink a little bit too much, or do drugs or whatever. You might not be as present when it comes to your relationship or with your children. And it's just this overwhelming feeling of being stuck, stagnant. It almost feels like you're on this treadmill, right? You're showing up, you're doing the same thing day in, day out, and you're not feeling that energized excitement that you used to, or you're not seeing the reward, or you feel like you're working more and more and more. You might not make any more money, or you just might not be as productive as you used to, right? This is what being burnout is all about. And in my opinion, it's reached an epidemic proportion in our society, but more specifically men, with the pressures that we feel and face to be all these things, to have an incredible family, to make a ton of money, to always be grinding and hustling because of the rise of the hustle culture, not to mention social media, right? Social media makes us feel bad about ourselves because we don't have, or when we look at it, we see all these other people that are grinding and hustling, and it makes us feel like if we're not doing that and working all the time, we're a failure. Our productivity as a country, as a society, and as a gender has been on the increase, the rise, right? We are encouraged and expected these days to work harder, to work longer, but unfortunately, our pay has not seen the same pace or growth as the productivity or the output that we're actually doing, which again leads to us feeling disassociated or dissatisfied with what we're actually doing. There's nothing worse than working really hard, giving your time, giving your effort, being productive for somebody who doesn't value it, or you don't feel that they do in the manner at which they should. Not to mention the feeling of insecurity with your job. With the rise of AI, a lot of jobs are going to go away. This is scary. Something else that's scary is the fact that all these companies now are laying people off. It's scary. It is scary as hell when you've got responsibilities and you don't know whether or not you're going to have a job or you're going to get laid off, which is going to in turn make you work harder to prove to them that you're worth it, but then you're not going to be compensated for the effort. One of the other big issues is that we as men don't talk about it. I know that I didn't. I didn't explain to people, hey, I'm feeling super burnt out or this is going on with me. Most men just suck it up because that's what we are expected to do, which leads to all sorts of problems. And that's one of the other things. Burnout affects more than just your mind. It affects your body, it affects your relationships. It affects every aspect of your life when you don't feel good about what you're doing or how you're doing it. So what I want to do now, guys, is go over some of the things that I did and that you can do in order to basically stop this or prevent it from happening. So all the things that I'm going to share with you are things that I did or I know would be beneficial for you to break the cycle and the feeling of burnout. All right, the first thing I just want to mention real quick is know when you need some help. All right, and what I mean by that is, like I said earlier, a lot of men never learn to talk about the things that are going on. You've got to prioritize your mental health. One of the things that I'd recommend each and every one of you do is go see or talk to a therapist. For me, every time I've used therapy in the past, my life just levels up. They gave me tools that I could use in order to deal with the issues or the situations that I was facing that were basically preventing me from feeling good. Because gentlemen, at the end of the day, That's what it's all about. Feeling good and being happy. BetterHelp is today's video sponsor, and they are on a mission to make starting therapy easier. Guys, there's a link down below this video. I want you to go and check it out. Fill out and answer a few questions, and then BetterHelp is going to be able to match you with a therapist that's going to be best suited to help you with your needs. And usually you're going to be able to start therapy in a few days. The thing that I love about BetterHelp is that it's comfortable. Right? Because I've done traditional therapy with like me going into an office, sitting across from somebody, and honestly, it's a little bit awkward and takes a little bit of time to really like get into the flow. It's not that it doesn't work, but with BetterHelp, the platform is designed to make starting therapy or having your therapy sessions any way that you find most convenient, but also most comfortable. The other thing I love about BetterHelp is that they allow you to change therapists for free if it's not the right fit, because therapy is a lot like dating. All right, I don't want you to think, oh, I'm gonna try therapy and it's not an exact fit, I don't really connect with this person, therapy's bad. No, it's just that that therapist isn't right for you. BetterHelp allows you to change to somebody else to find that perfect person that connects with you, that can help you be your best self. BetterHelp carefully vets their therapist to make sure that they are well qualified. They also have an amazing customer support team that is there to help or answer any questions. Guys, they've got over 7,000 reviews with an average 4.5 stars on Trustpilot, which means BetterHelp is a company you can trust. Guys, hit the link down below. If you go through my special link, betterhelp.com/alpha-M, that's BETTERHELP.com/alpha-M, you're going to get 10% off your first month of therapy. Guys, do not wait. Now is the time. That's betterhelp.com/alpha-M. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to feel great, and BetterHelp can help you make it happen. Second step to avoid or overcome burnout is to change your mindset when it comes to this whole idea that you've got to be busy at all costs. Guys, it's not about constantly being busy. It's about being productive and effective with the time that you're spending. Too often, we fall into this trap where we just work, and we think that if we just work longer and harder, that it's gonna solve our problem, when honestly, it just makes everything worse. I used to think that I needed to always be working and busy, and if I wasn't, then something was wrong with me and I was a slacker, right? Which led to the whole like burnout problem in the first place. The truth is, if you are constantly working and not letting your brain rest, it's going to basically make you less productive with the things that you're actually doing. You've got to have time for your brain to unplug. If this means go exercise, if it means go for a jog, if it means go on a vacation, if it means take weekends off, or even just like a Sunday, take it off. The next step is set boundaries for other people, but also yourself. And this was something that was hard to do. But for me, I knew, okay, if I don't, all right, set some boundaries for myself and make myself take some time off or decompress, I'm not going to be good for anybody, and it's just going to perpetuate the problem. You've got to set boundaries for yourself, but also for other people, including your boss or your job. You've got to have the ability to decompress and set boundaries. No, I'm not going to answer that email right now and drop everything. You can still get everything done if you're more disciplined with your time and the way that you actually manage it. Which brings me to the next step. Be better at managing your time. Making a schedule and sticking to it as closely as possible is very important. Now, of course, if you've ever tried to make a schedule, you know that things are gonna come up and things aren't gonna happen, but it's about having a structure. The more disciplined and structured you can make your day, the easier you're gonna find it to fit in the things that you need to do. Reassess your commitments. This one was really hard for me. And I think that truly the reason why it got to the breaking point this year or this past year was because I've been doing extracurricular businesses for a long time. Also, I've been doing a lot of extracurricular real estate. All right, I built myself a house, I renovated this loft, I bought a house for my mom, I renovated that, then I did the salon, renovated that, and then I built myself another house, which was super stressful. I didn't realize how stressed out and burnt out I was until basically it was over. One day I was just like, oh my God, like this is done, and I feel amazing. Combine that with the fact that I still had all of the things that I had to do in terms of my business and these other commitments. Which brings me to the point. You've got to reassess, and you got to be honest with yourself. Don't say yes to things if you're not going to have the time to actually do it or do it well. Physical activity. You need to make it a priority. Every day you need to do something that's good for your body that's also going to be good for your mind. If you're not taking care of yourself physically, you are not going to basically last. You've got to take care of your body, your temple. Something else is your nutrition. If you're eating like shit, you're not going to be fueling your brain with the good nutrients it needs in order to basically be effective, efficient, and feel good. And then sleep. You've got to prioritize sleep. In a world of FOMO, or everybody's scared they're going to miss out on things, or you spend time just aimlessly scrolling or watching shit on Netflix that is terrible and trash TV, you've got to make sleep a priority. Now, I'm not saying that watching TV or decompressing is bad, not at all. But you've got to make sure sleep is a priority. It's about reverse engineering your day. If you know you've got to get up at this time so that you have time to do X, Y, and Z, you need 7 or 8 hours. What time do you need to go to bed? And don't just lay in bed watching TV or aimlessly scrolling, which brings me to something else. You've got to detox digitally. A digital detox, to whatever extent you can detox from it, is imperative that you do, because it's going to impact you in a lot of different ways. Number one, it's going to help reset and recalibrate your dopamine. It also is going to not make you waste time. The amount of time that we waste aimlessly surfing or looking at porn or our social media is very detrimental to us. It also is impacting the way that we feel about ourselves, because when we see these other people working or grinding or buying stuff that we feel like we should have, it once again perpetuates this hustle culture. Guys, you've got to break the cycle. For me, I had to start being more thankful for the things that I have and grateful for the things that I've accomplished and being more present in my life, all right? And really embracing time with my loved ones, friends, and family, and the things that I get to do that aren't work, right? For me, I've always hated vacations, because vacations meant that I wasn't able to work the way that I normally do. I always felt like if I took a vacation and I rested and I wasn't always working, that something was gonna go wrong. It was this weird phobia of going on vacation and just relaxing and not always checking my email, checking my phone, and checking the things that I felt like I needed to check. And when I realized that, you know what, you've done a good enough job to delegate the things that can basically be done by somebody else, and the world will not end if you don't answer an email for 2 days. And that's something that, once again, was hard for me to learn, but when I did, it's incredibly powerful. All right, there's time to do everything you need to do, and when you come back, you're gonna be more effective, more efficient, and you're gonna be more productive. And the last thing I'd like to leave you with is just some food for thought. If you feel like you're burnout and you dread going to work, you gotta analyze the situation. If you don't like what you're doing, that's a problem. If you don't like who you're doing it with, your coworkers, that's also a problem. Or who you're doing it for, your boss, who you're making rich. If you don't like those things, you got to change jobs. Life is too short to hate what you do for 7, 8, 9 hours a day. That could be the problem and why you feel so burnt out. But even when you find something that you enjoy doing, it's still going to be work, and you're still going to have to manage the situation to not feel burnt out. Unfortunately, it is an epidemic of massive proportion. Lots of reasons for that, some of which we talked about, but the bottom line is this: you need to take care of you.